The speed, the sound, the adrenaline rush. Nothing beats the excitement of a Code 3, the emergency response that allows cops to race through the streets with lights and sirens blaring.
Oh, of course it's fun.
From patrol cop up to commanding a robbery squad, the highly decorated NYPD Detective Sergeant Jerry Kane has seen it all. Now retired, he has a little high-speed confession. You ever use the Code 3 to go to lunch?
Oh, I'd rather take the Fifth Amendment on that, Jim.
But this Miami cop in his patrol car took the license to speed to an extreme. He's off duty, yet driving up to 120 miles per hour on his way to a second job. A Florida state trooper pulls him over.
Put your hands out that window right now!
He's shocked when she cuffs him like any other civilian suspect.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this at all.
He couldn't talk his way out of trouble, but Kane says you might if you're pulled over. Here's his advice. First, realize the officer faces a serious risk.
The most dangerous thing to the cop when he comes up to the car are the hands of someone, because they could hold a weapon.
So Kane says if you're pulled over by an officer, work to put him or her at ease.
If he can see everybody's hands, immediately his blood pressure goes down, his pulse gets a little slower. If it's nighttime, turn on the interior lights in your car. Night or day, lower all the windows in your car and put your hands up on the steering wheel, high, where the cop can see them.
So you want to make it easy on the officer?
Absolutely. If you were going to get some discretion, you now set up that possibility.
It's probably best to spare the officer your excuses, too.
I'll tell you right now that every cop I know is just assumes that everybody's lying all the time.
Kane says be apologetic, but don't feel you have to admit anything.
You can play dumb. You can say, you know, what did I do? And if he tells you what you did, you could say, well, you know, I just didn't realize it. You know, you don't have to, you know, surrender.
Does it work to cry?
Only for women.
What if she shows a little leg?
Since men and women were created, attractive women get more breaks.
Kane says when he's driving, he protects himself by keeping his speed less than 10 miles over the limit.
If you were my brother or my cousin and asked me, that's what I would tell you.
As upset as you are about that pricey ticket, don't let your rage run wild and back into the squad car. He's just added reckless driving on top of that speeding ticket. But sometimes the rage comes from the other side of the badge. Here's an example in a Minnesota detox center, where a drunk and disorderly man in the wheelchair verbally threatens a social worker. The cop doesn't take it well.
Sometimes they get their life threatened. It's very hard to sometimes control your temper, regardless of how much you've been trained, regardless of how much experience you have. People make mistakes.
But a rogue cop in a bad mood could arrest you for anything. That's what allegedly happened in this New Jersey traffic stop, where the driver had run off and left his passengers behind. There's no driver around.
Driver's gone.
State Trooper Justin Hobson knows that because he was right there that night, the officer on the right. He says his senior partner was upset when the woman passenger didn't cooperate and suddenly decided to cuff her for drunk driving, even though he knows she wasn't behind the wheel.
Why don't you turn around, put your hands behind your back for me. You're going to be under arrest for DWI. Oh, relax. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
He was being a cowboy and not a cop.
Hobson's partner knows she wasn't driving. He says so on the dash camera.
The guy who was driving apparently bitched and she got in the car.
How can abuse continue to exist? Hobson says he found out when, stunned by the improper arrest, he tells his partner that he won't back up the false story in court.
And he looks at me and he said, "You better keep your mouth shut."
As Hobson writes in Breaking the Blue Wall, when he refused to lie on the stand, he was targeted by a rogue group of troopers who called themselves the Lords of Discipline. He sued and settled for $400,000, although the state denied wrongdoing.
I was physically assaulted. I was ostracized. Hate notes were left on my locker.
Kane insists that cases like Hobson's are rare. Negative stereotypes of abusive, corrupt cops aren't the norm. Witness this photo, viral this week, of an NYPD officer buying boots for a homeless man in New York. But in one final confession, Kane reveals that another stereotype is more than urban legend. You know, the one about the love affair cops have with donuts.
They'll give you a little sugar boost.
So it's not just a stereotype.
It is a stereotype, Jim, but
But based on a little bit of fact.
it's a little bit of fact.